Most of our audio gear comes from established, known retailers like Appos or Headphones.com or Shenzhen Audio. But a little while ago, Temu contacted me and asked if I would order some items from their website and give them a try. I'm sure you've heard of Temu. I was not too familiar with it at first. Turns out they are an established retailer. Apparently they offer free shipping for items shipped directly from Temu with a 90-day return policy, which is obviously a rival to Amazon's own return policies. Temu also has a delivery guarantee, which is useful when you are getting various gear from Asia. And frankly, when I placed my order for this video, it came in about 10 days. I ordered a couple of items from the Temu app, and the company also sent me a link to share for a $100 coupon bundle. The link is in the description section if you're interested, and I don't get any kickbacks. In any event, I ended up ordering the KZ EDX Lite IEMs and a 132-piece screwdriver set, two vastly different products. And to be honest, I really needed a screwdriver set. The KZ IEMs cost me $5.49 out the door, and the screwdriver set cost $20.49 out the door. Naturally, you've heard of KZ since they make lots of IEMs. KZ floods the market with new gear every month, and you can't shop for IEMs without running into something from their catalog. The EDX Lite is just as the name suggests. It's a very affordable IEM, and frankly, many people don't want or need to spend more than a few dollars for these kinds of products that are really just for the go. The Lite has a very typical shape and size, but it is very lightweight. It's made of entirely plastic and has a 2-pin detachable cable. The IEM comes with a few silicone ear tips, a decent cable that thankfully does not produce much microphonics. The overall design of the Lite is pretty uninspirational, but you can't complain for the very, very low price. I was surprised about the low cost and good combination of build. Goes to show how little these products really do cost to produce. I tried out the Lite for about 3 weeks as one of my go-to IEMs. I paired it with my Eco Zerta Low 2 PAW S1 and PAW 6000 and plugged it directly into my laptops. I listened to both lossless and lossy music, streamed movies and TV shows, and even worked out with them. One of the things I noticed off the bat is the comfortable fit. The very lightweight design never caused fatigue. Compare that to IEMs built from metal, such as the Aria and Starfield. Those IEMs can become a little bit too much after a while. On the other hand, I think the KZ EDX Lite's ear tips are not the most comfortable. They do tend to cause a bit of pressure on my ears after about 30 to 45 minutes. Swapping ear tips might help. My overall impression of the Lite's sound signature is that it's a prominent V-shaped signature. There's a lot of bass, including sub-bass. There's no better than average separation of mid-bass from sub-bass, but even when drums are a prevalent instrument in a mix, vocals still stand out, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Bass transients on the Lite is about average. Comparing the Lite to the Aria and Starfield, I felt that the Moondrop products had more pervasive bass, especially in the mid-bass area. Clarity was more apparent on the EDX Lite. And the Aria and Starfield, frankly, it just kind of meld things together in the bass region. Drum impacts were fairly similar among all three IEMs. Now, the mids are exceedingly sibilant and grainy on the Lite. It is hands down one of the most vocally harsh IEMs I have listened to in quite a while. In Orla Gartland's Why Am I Like This, the sibilance was very, very sharp. I had to lower the volume to just above audible levels for my own comfort, but even that didn't help much. Comparing other vocal-centric tracks, I found that the Lite always presented vocals 2 steps ahead of instruments. Male vocalists seem to have slightly less piercing sibilance, but of course that will depend on the original recording and whether the track compensated for any sibilance to begin with. Compared to the Aria and Starfield, the Moondrop products do not present vocals as clearly as the Lite. Both of those Moondrop IEMs render vocals about 1 step behind instruments, especially when drums are in the mix. All three have a sibilance emphasis, but frankly, the Moondrop IMs are much gentler in comparison. Overall, mid-center clarity is a little bit more obvious on the light. The treble has a prominent emphasis in the mid and lower treble region. This was obvious when I listened to Scherzo for X-Wings. The brass and horns cut through very clearly, but were also a little bit sharp to my ears. There was noticeable separation among the group sets, and I had no trouble hearing the placement of each group of instruments. However, the Aria and Starfield had a noticeably gentler presentation overall, and I found it much easier to listen to these IMs at louder volumes for longer time. Clarity in this region appears to be greater on the light, but in all honesty, the only thing that's happening is that some instruments sound louder on the light, and there really isn't any greater detail to be had. Speaking of which, conducting my typical footstep test, I counted 7 to 8 clear footsteps on the light. This is about the same result as I achieved on the Starfield and Aria. My broader perspective is that the light has about average detail retrieval, less than that of the hifi T2, but well within normal IEM performance, and that includes IEMs that cost hundreds of dollars. Soundstage is where I think the light does a very good job. The light has a noticeably wider soundstage than both the Aria and Starfield. It feels like instruments are more open, less directly in front of me when I listen on the light. The Aria and Starfield present, in contrast, a more claustrophobic experience, where instruments simply are more closely grouped together and sound much closer to my ears. My overall opinion of the light is that it is not breaking any new grounds for sound signature or build. It is very sibilant, and it will be difficult for some people to handle. But if you enjoy this kind of sharp sound, then I see no reason why the spending of under $5 or around $5 isn't perfectly agreeable for this product. Now, let's briefly turn to the screwdriver set. Come on, it's a screwdriver set. It comes in a decent box with everything properly and securely arrayed and labeled. There's a lot of plastic on the handle of the screwdriver, but it has a metal attachment point, and yes, it is magnetic. And there are more screwdriver heads than I will ever end up using, I'm confident of that. From what I can tell, every kind of screwdriver head I might need is here. I've even seen these kinds of screwdriver sets on Amazon and have purchased a smaller version in the past from Amazon. And quite frankly, this stuff here from Temu, the 132 piece, makes a lot more sense to me. The screwdriver isn't built Ford tough, but it's good enough for using around the house. Hey, for 132 pieces, this thing is a bargain. Overall, not too bad for the amount of money that I ended up spending on this and the IM. If you're interested in finding audio gear, or frankly anything else, on Temu, check out the link below in the description section, and hopefully save yourself some money. Once again, I don't get any kickbacks from Temu, and frankly, if you can find stuff that you really want or need at a cheaper price, Temu might be a good way to go.